Welcome back to Energetically You. I'm your host, Megan Swan. I am a mindset, wellness, and integrated wellness business coach. Today, I'm thrilled to have Dr. Alka Patel on the podcast. She is a TEDx speaker, GP, lifestyle doctor, longevity coach, author, and podcaster. She amplifies health as a skill and an asset so that inspired individuals and bold businesses can create compassionate lifestyle changes for happy, healthy living and connected workplace wellness. Her TED Talk, Health is a Verb, Not a Noun, evokes the emotion behind the need to create health as a skill. Dr. Patel is the founder of Lifestyle First and the creator of the Lifestyle First Method, a 10-point blueprint for heightened health and lengthened longevity. She runs a regular podcast, the Lifestyle First Podcast, providing regular tips for transformative lifestyle changes. We all need TLC. Dr. Patel's mission is to help 1 million people reach their potential to live a 1 million hour life. So let's dive in. Hi, Alka. It's such an honor to have you here today. How are you? Let's just introduce ourselves first. How's your day?
Fabulous. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a beautiful day. Nice to be here, Megan.
Well, let's go. How long ago was your TED Talk and how was that whole experience? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, wow. Gosh, yeah, that's taking me back. Not that long ago. It's been just over a year, actually. And it's an unusual thing with my TEDx talk because I had the idea that I wanted to do a TEDx talk and I said it out loud. And the moment I said it out loud, of course, then I was going to make it happen. And I made it happen within 28 days. So within 28 days of the thought, the idea, the saying it out loud, it was out to the world. And so, and I reflected back on that and I thought, when you've really got a message that you want to get out there, it doesn't take months or years of planning. It's just so raw and so there. So I did. And in fact, when I was prepping for it, I remember it took me only 58 minutes to know exactly what I wanted to say. Because I was like, right, I'm going to do this TEDx talk. I've got the date now. I've got this time in between these two meetings to prep it. Here we go. And it was out. And I just, again, that comes from somewhere, doesn't it? It really comes from the core. So it was absolutely a message I knew I needed to get out there for sure.
Well, so when you essentially manifested it and said it out loud, was that because you knew exactly what you wanted to say, or you just knew that you had like a message that needed to be widely received and you weren't exactly sure how to hone that in yet?
It was more because I'd seen for a long time my healthcare going wrong, revolving the wrong way. I allude to the sort of revolving door of healthcare in my TEDx talk. And when something is so powerfully challenging, I think you know that you immediately want to get a message out that can make a difference. I mean, I've been a doctor for over 20 years now, and in that time, I'd hoped I'd helped a lot of people, but really pausing to think about that, I'd actually made a lot of people dependent on me as a doctor who was going to fix them. And we all love a fix, don't we? But actually, your health never should have laid in my hands. It should have stayed firmly in yours. So that was the important crux of what I needed to say, really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's dive into that. So how has your practice changed since you made that realization?
Oh, hugely. When you go to medical school, I remember when I was having my medical school interview, it was at the age of 17. And, like anybody at that right young age, when someone says, why do you want to be a doctor? Of course, the cliched answer that comes out is, of course, I want to help people. But it wasn't cliched. There was a real sense from the core that I want to help people be healthy, live long. And there's a deep desire to do that. And when I realized that I wasn't, I had to think about why wasn't I? And because medical school and medical training is very much, I have to say, it's very much pharma-led, the big pharmaceuticals. It's and it's not led by what I now know is the absolute core of healthy living and long living, which is your lifestyle. And because of all my training, I thought I was doing a good thing. And I again allude to this in my TEDx talk about practicing McDonald's style medicine. It's, that drive-through feeling that someone comes in, here's my prescription for a pill. Oh, this week is buy one, get one free. What else pill would you like this week? And it was the best I could do in these 10-minute consultations that we have. And that's where the system is broken, because we never get to the core of health. We never get to the root and the source of it, which is all about how you walk, move, sleep, eat, connect, what you value, who you are. And those are the conversations that really make a difference to people's lives, not that temporary fix of medication. And, I truly believe that medicines have a part to play in life. Of course they do. Antibiotics have saved people's lives. We've had vaccines. We've got all sorts of incredible medical technologies at our fingertips now. And I'm so, so grateful for that. But I pivoted to prescribing lifestyle first. Hence my whole brand is called Lifestyle First, because it's about positioning what comes first.
Mm-hmm. Yes, totally agree. So tell us, how do you empower patients to feel more agency around their healing and their health and wellness?
That's a really interesting question. I think the first thing to do is to know where you are. You can't know where you want to get to unless you know where you are, right? You get in your car, you've got a destination, you've got to tap that destination into your GPS, otherwise you're not going anywhere. So that's really the first thing that I do with all of my patients and with all of my clients, is really get people to think about, where are you at right now in terms of your health, in terms of your lifestyle, in terms of your longevity trajectory, because that's a really big focus of mine. And so I've devised this, what I call the LQ test. So it's like your IQ test for your cognitive intelligence, like your EQ test for your emotional intelligence, but it's your LQ for your lifestyle intelligence. It's really interesting, those results. So it's 10 key areas that I really, truly believe have got centerfold place in how our lives turn out. And it zones in all the way from life's purpose to your identity, food, exercise, sleep, which we talk about a lot, having time out, how you connect with people, how you learn habits and your emotions and your motivation and your mindset. And it spells out the word lifestyle. So it's 10 very, very easy lifestyle first principles to follow. And when people take that LQ test, they know where they're at the moment. And I again truly believe that everyone has the potential to reach their peak. And so if you wake up every day and it's, I don't know what the purpose of my day is, well, know your purpose, because people who live with purpose live 7 to 8 years longer. We know that. There's scientific studies that demonstrate that. So why do your feet hit the ground every day? And, these are conversations we don't often have. And I certainly didn't have them with my patients as a busy GP when I was doing very traditional general practice work. I knew everything about my patients. I knew where they were going on holiday. I knew where their children were going to school. I knew what their symptoms they had, but I never stopped to ask them, what matters to you? Which is why people don't change, right? I can tell lots of my patients, you should run for 150 minutes a week. That's what public health say. That's the guidelines. And make sure you eat X, Y, and Z. But unless I know what their drivers are and their motivations are, nothing's going to change. People don't change.
Mm-hmm. So do you find that most clients are sort of shocked by the results of this IQ or LQ quiz, or it's more often, being handed a formal version of what they already knew?
A little bit of both, because I think there's a sense of common sense to certainly lifestyle medicine. I call it common sense medicine. You know that you don't sleep well. You know that you're always scrolling on your phone before you go to bed. You know that you're just trying to squeeze in one more episode of Netflix. You know that, that junk cupboard that you've got in your house, it doesn't need to be there, and yet it is. So we know these things and we choose not to see them. So what I think the LQ test does is it makes the invisible visible. It makes you see what you don't want to see. And numbers are so important. We live in a very sort of quantified world as well, don't we? And the sense of the kind of quantified self, actually numbers give us some sort of direction. They give us something to aim for. So if, when you do your LQ test and you get your score, you want to change that. And you know which direction you want to go in. So I find it's a real eye-opener for people to zone in, because the other thing is often we think we have to do everything. I've got to have purpose. I've got to know who I am. I've got to eat well, sleep well, move well, do all of it. And because doing all of it is so overwhelming, we do none of it.
Yes, that's a big part of my work, is helping clients give themselves permission to just work on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So how do you integrate longevity? I mean, is that something you present to clients quite early on, or is it sort of like this natural progression when we take better care of ourselves, we sort of have a longer projection of wanting to maintain that? Or is it kind of like a specific seed that you plant as a motivator?
Yeah, it's increasingly becoming a specific seed. And I think, certainly the pandemic has helped sort of sow that for a lot of people. This sense of fragility of life has suddenly become a common theme for all of us. We've all known it, but we've not all known it at the same time. And suddenly we all knew it at the same time. So this sense of this deep desire to live long became a deeper sense. And we all have that. We're all on this earth not to just have a short life. We all want a long life, but we want a long, healthy life. There's not a single person that I would ask, do you want a short life? How's that going to work for you? No one's going to say yes. So sowing that seed of why is the most important conversation that I have very, very early on, is why, what is important to you about living long and living well? Because until you get to the reason, you won't get to the action.
Mm-hmm. So tell me how, back to that we live in a very numbers dominated world, how did you come up with the 1,000,000-hour life? Did it just miraculously come to you one day? It's such a brilliant concept and I never heard it before.
Yeah, the 1,000,000-hour life. And it's possible. And I know it's possible because there are other human beings on this planet who have lived a 1,000,000-hour life. So it's not a number that's just plucked out of the air, or it might happen. It has happened. So it's told us that human potential to live a 1,000,000-hour life exists. That's 116 years, in case listeners have got their calculators out.
Yeah.
How long actually is that? That's 116 years. And the reason I really believe in it as well is because of the time that we live in right now. This incredible technological age means that we are absolutely at the forefront of what is possible. We can slow down aging. We can reverse aging. Again, how do you measure age is really, really important. And it's something I zone in on as well. It's not the number of candles on your cake. It is absolutely not that number in your passport in terms of what your age is. That's something we've created, that concept of time, isn't it? So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm quite open with my audience. I'm aiming for 120, but that's kind of like my mindset. And for me, the longevity piece was always a motivator. And I think a lot of people can, or maybe first identify as, I didn't really care about my longevity until I had children, and then it's like, no, I want to be around for as much of their story as possible, right? And in a state of health and well-being that I can really enjoy it and not be a burden to them, and all those parts as well. So can you tell us a little bit? What are you seeing right now? Like, what is the hardest thing for your clients to change or shift for themselves for the better in the current post-pandemic climate?
The hardest thing is the emotional shift. Talk a lot about physical health and physical conditions, but the hardest shift is emotional health, because from that comes the physicality as well. But I have daily conversations with my clients about those sort of mindset shifts, those long held beliefs about I'm not good enough. I feel guilty. I'll never be able to do this. I'm not worthy. All of that sense of sort of hopelessness can hit, especially when people are going through some difficult, challenging times in their life. But if you can shift the emotion, then, as I said before, you're going to shift the reaction that comes from that as well. And I think that's the hardest thing for most people, to know that actually an emotional shift is in your hand and you can do it instantly. We can both be here talking now with our hands in our head and our voices really quiet, and suddenly the energy is really low. Or we can go, oh my God, Megan, you know what? This is a fantastic opportunity to have a conversation about, and suddenly the energy's changed. And I get to choose that in that moment. And so that's the most important thing for people, is to know that just like that, literally in a click, you shift your emotion, you're going to shift actually your reaction and response to the world.
I love that. Can you give us a couple more tools that you use with clients that help them see that, how easy it is to shift their energy?
Oh yeah, for sure. I do this little exercise about your sort of t-shirt statement. You know, we've all seen t-shirts with slogans on them. So what's your t-shirt saying at the moment? What's that belief that you're holding? What's the impact of that? If you're saying, I'm not good enough, how's the person opposite you receiving that? How's that making them feel? What do you want them to feel instead? So for them to feel something different, what do you need to have on your t-shirt?
That's a great one.
Whether it's I am energized, or this is me, or I am loving being here. Whatever you want to put on it, it will change then your emotion. So that concept of that visualization of that t-shirt statement, and I do that in a kind of very visual way for people as well. So it's a real kind of immersive experience, and it's incredible. You can always see that penny drop moment that, yeah, this is my t-shirt. I choose what I'm going to put on. I wear it myself every day.
I like that. So bringing it back full circle, if your TED Talk is your t-shirt, do you feel like, you know, the expectations you had going in on how you wanted other people to receive it and feel were met?
Yeah, for sure, because there was an emotion behind it. You know, when you're telling a story that's got an emotion behind it, that's got a message attached to it, there's going to be a transformation, of course. So yeah, you know, it came from a difficult time when my father passed away, and recognizing the contributions to that, contribution that I had made, the contribution that another doctor had made, the contribution that other people had made to that, and knowing what difference one choice, one decision, one action in one moment can make, and we all have that choice. So I think it's certainly I had a lot of comments back and messages from people in terms of what it evoked for them, and people have made some changes. You know, people have made lifestyle changes from just hearing one message. So I've had there's a bit in there about don't press snooze on your phone in the morning, you know, seize the day, don't snooze the day. And I've had lots of people saying, yeah, I've been doing that, and what a difference that has made. So there's just so many small things that you can change in your lifestyle that can be incredibly transformative if you choose to do them. If you've got a big enough reason, if you've got a strong enough emotion behind it, you will make the change that you want to.
Beautiful. Well, one last question. What would you say to someone who's really, you know, finding it hard to see that reason to not press snooze, you know, to reach someone who's really in a dark place, to start sort of the wheel of making those micro shifts to find a better place?
It's all about your attention and your awareness. So what do you want to focus on right now? Do you want to focus on what happened in the past and look in that rear view mirror whilst you're driving? And if you're driving, looking in the rear view mirror, what do you think is going to happen? You will crash, right? Drive, looking in the forward view mirror, you're going to see a landscape in front of you. You're going to see a new place. So you choose, because the past holds you there, but it's done. And yet we hold on to it. And the other thing we do is sometimes we travel so far into the future that you can't even see it, but we make it up in the place that's difficult. Oh gosh, if I do this, then this will happen, or no one will turn up to my event, or no one will like what I say, or I'm not going to that party because people won't talk to me. And we create these illusions of what ifs as well. So you don't want to be there. You literally want to be driving your car right here, right now, in the present moment. So keep bringing yourself back to that. However difficult it feels right now, focus on the whole there's a whole gratitude piece, isn't there? Interestingly, Megan, I just came off spending 7 days on a mountain where I sat in complete silence and I didn't speak for 7 days at all. And that experience, when you allow yourself to hear the chatter of your own mind, even though that's probably most people's biggest fear, is I don't want to hear what my mind says. This roommate is with me all the time and she's got an opinion and I don't always like it. But actually, you know what? Let that chatter settle. You discover yourself. And I came away with this whole new admiration of the world and total awe of things around me, because I'm now choosing to see the beauty of it all, the majesticness of it all, the absolute gratefulness for being able to be here. Or whatever timeline that is, it will be 1 million hours, but the mountains will be there way past me as well. So I think allowing yourself to have a space and stillness, feel the discomfort of your own chatter, no matter how difficult it is, what difficult time you're having, let it settle, is an important thing for us all to do. And we don't do that. We don't press pause. We don't have a pause button. We keep going with, to-do lists. You become a to-do list. You become an agenda. And I think there is something in all of us that we just want to quieten the noise and just see what comes.
Well, I love the very wise, grounded way that you explain all of these shifts in the way that we could decide to think and look at things differently. And I'm jealous of your silent retreat. That sounds incredible. It's on my bucket list. I will do at some point. And well, it was such a pleasure having you. Can you tell us a little bit like what you're working on specifically now at this moment, and what's the best way for people to connect with you if they want to hear more about the blueprint, the lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's my website, of course, which is dralkapatel.com. So you'll find lots of information on there, including the LQ test. So anyone listening, that's going to be a great starting point. I've got courses and programs and one-on-one work and group work. And I've got the big 5 tests that I think we should all know, the big 5 vital signs about ourselves that we should all know. We haven't had a chance to chat about those. So very happy for your audience to get in touch with me. I'm also in the midst of planning my own retreats as well. So again, that sense of everything I've shared on the show is, how to embed that and immerse yourself in that as well. So that's coming up this year and into next year as well. So lots of things for people to get in touch with me about. And all the sort of age reversal. So I do biological age testing so that you can know your absolute inner age, your biological age, the age that matters, and then change your trajectory through following the Lifestyle First method, which is exactly what I've been doing. And I am now 30 years younger, almost 30 years younger biologically than I am chronologically. So,
Wow. Well, can you quickly let us in on what are some of the things that you test to get that number for people?
So the biological age test itself is a very simple finger prick test, which I can send to your home. Finger prick blood test goes back to the lab, where lots of incredible analyses that go on that really connect directly to your immune system and your inflammatory system in your body, which is absolutely the core of aging, this wonderful term called inflammaging. And that's the number that matters. And that's the number that we should all be using to change our trajectory. So that's one of the key tests that I do.
Incredible. Well, so many amazing things to check out. And I'm looking forward to following you, and just such great wisdom that you have to share with the world. Thank you for everything.
Oh, thank you, Megan. It's been beautiful chatting with you. Thank you.
Thanks. We'll be in touch.